quote from Force of Habit, when you are releasing the hold a particular habit has had in your life, to do it you need the assistance of the intelligence that put that habit where it is in the first place. Though your mind cannot be coerced, your subconscious can be convinced to do anything that is truly in your best interest. And a whole lot of things that aren't, too. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. You know, you need the subconscious mind. So it isn't like the subconscious mind is good or bad. It isn't that habits are good or bad. It's a question of that we get into a whole lot of bad habits, and we don't want to be in bad habits, but we got to be in some kind of habits. So you want to take that energy and take that force and point it in a beneficial direction. And that's what we're talking about. What is the most beneficial possible direction? And so there's all these possibilities that we're talking about here. Okay, with all that in mind, then, let's talk about here's what the conscious mind is. Here's how I break down the conscious mind. Remembering that we're making an artificial distinction here. We're taking the mind and we're bifurcating it. We're saying, well, here's the conscious mind, here's the subconscious mind. It's just like the brain. When you take a part of the brain and you say it does this, it does that, it doesn't really like that. The brain interdigitates all of its parts and is constantly coordinating and firing these, trillions of synapses every second to coordinate as a whole, to light the whole thing up, to work as a community. Well, conscious and subconscious work the same way, and yet you can look at certain qualities and pinpoint them. And everything that I'm saying to you can become a very powerful source of hypnotic induction and hypnotic healing work. When you use this kind of language, when you talk about conscious mind, subconscious mind. And I'm going to give you some even stronger stuff as we go along. So here's the conscious mind. Conscious mind is what you are aware that you are aware of. It is intentional. It is self-conscious, self-reflective. It's something that you know you're aware of, and you know it's you that's aware of it. That's the conscious mind. It's something you're pointing in a certain direction, like the steering wheel of the car. Conscious mind can perform one task at a time, one thought pattern at a time. It is, in fact, time-bound. It's subject to the three-dimensional realm. So you've got to keep that in mind now, because time, you notice when we talk about PTSD and PTSD healing and symptoms and stuff, time becomes a real big factor. Well, what if time is plastic? What if we're sitting here saying we're the master of time and you just feel like you're a victim of time? I can liberate you. You can free your client from time. Okay? Because the conscious mind is stuck in time, and the subconscious mind has no concept of time. So conscious mind uses linear and abstract reasoning and imagination, and communicates using words, visuals, and symbols. Okay? And so that's basically, in a nutshell, that's what conscious mind is all about. So on the other hand, here's the subconscious mind, also mind, but just a different aspect of mind. Subconscious mind is awareness of which you are not consciously aware on a self-conscious level. It is really hard to, I changed that slide so many times because like there's so many ways of saying that. It's non-self-consciousness. What's in the subconscious mind is conscious, isn't it? Everything's conscious. All your cells are conscious, and you don't know what's going on in all the cells in your big toe unless you really think about it. But they have awareness and consciousness, but you're not aware of their awareness on a self-reflective level, and yet they're awareness. So it's all the awareness that you have, but that you don't have at the top where you can say what you're aware of. And everybody learned something about Freud when you went through school and stuff, so he was way into that stuff. And so everybody kind of got the idea that there's stuff going on below the surface, but there's lots of different ways to think about it. I choose not, in the back of Force of Habit, unconscious is in there. And I'm thinking I say something about it, so I don't want to kind of spoil it, but unconscious is in my unwords list. So you can kind of put that in the back of your mind and puzzle. Why would he say that unconscious is a word that is less than useless? I didn't say less than useful, less than useless, which means it's got a little tinge where it can do some things that aren't salutary. All right. Subconscious mind performs multiple tasks with multiple cognitions, awarenesses simultaneously. It is timeless. It is unaware of time. It uses cosmic awareness and imagination and infinite abstraction. The subconscious mind can't appreciate infinity. You can't on a conscious level. And that's because it's timeless. It's not bound by time. That's why somebody can think they're reliving a traumatic symptom. The subconscious mind has no clue about time. The classic example is if you got stuck with a needle when you were a kid and doctor or nurse was wearing a white coat, everybody in the hospital is wearing a white coat, scares the bejeebies out of you every time you go in there. It's like, well, what happened? That was, you were 5. This is a different doctor. No, it's not. In your subconscious mind, it's the same doctor. It's the same thing that happened. It's not a different, and that's what we were saying earlier on. The experience of something happening again, the experience of something reoccurring. That's what we're talking about. And I'm really glad that I'm beating up on that word. Because as therapists, aren't we all about changing people's experience? Do we want them to have a different experience than they had when they walked in the office? Yeah, we do. And we need to think about what that experience is and how much different an experience can we give them. And it's really surprising what kind of a different experience we can give them when you think about the power of the subconscious mind. Okay, the subconscious communicates using images, feelings, emotions, dreams, symbols, and memories. Sounds like a book by Carl Jung. That's what's interesting to me. You're constantly talking to yourself. I mentioned that earlier on. It's a dialogue. It's a dialogue because you're not just talking to yourself. There's the self you talk to and the self who's talking to the self. Whatever. You know what I mean? You're talking to yourself, but you're talking to something, and you know it's you you're talking to. But not only are you talking to you, sort of big you, big brother, big sister you, all-wise you, you're getting a reaction. And that's the dialogue. Well, what's the reaction you're getting? Well, PTSD, phobias, asthma, cancer. What response are you getting? Fear, terror, anxiety. That's the subconscious mind talking, giving you the effect of what the input was. Okay? And as therapists, we want to cause an experience, we want to cause an effect. And when we get into hypnosis, we're really going to talk about that because that's what hypnosis is really all about, is causing an effect, getting something to happen. All right, the subconscious mind in a nutshell is that aspect of mind that takes care of everything that you do without your having to consciously think about it. So put it another way, everything you do that you don't have to consciously think about it. In other words, everything that's done by you without your having to think about it, that's being done by the subconscious mind. So there's only so much credit you can take for it.